has won yet. Of those 32 shots, one Dutch player had 20 of them on his own, Thomas KLEINLUGTEBELD. Eventually scored a goal with 3 minutes to go, but it wasn't enough to win the game. That means the standings are like that, with Iran top. So semi-final place is still up for grabs.
This is the Paralympic Games football side Pool B. Please welcome Argentina and the Lars.
So both teams attempting to make up for disappointing opening days. Argentina were outplayed by Iran and only mustered a single shot on goal in the first half of that match. Well, the Dutch fans would certainly have enjoyed the contest against the USA. It was end-to-end and pretty dramatic. The Americans scored very early and then equalised right at the end after the Dutch had turned it round with goals from Jeroen and Thomas KLEINLUGTEBELD. I'm sure they'll look to play through him plenty again today. Argentina will have to find a way of stopping him. Good atmosphere inside the Diodoro Stadium. Argentina have rung the changes, of which more very shortly. The anthems first though. Argentina first before that of the Netherlands.
Ladies and gentlemen, the anthem of the Netherlands.
Senhoras e senhores, o hino dos Países Baixos.
Wow, what an atmosphere here at the Diodoro Stadium. All set for Argentina against the Netherlands.
And again, the Dutch will have their eyes on winning if they're going to seal a semi-final place and attempt to win a medal for the first time in this event since 1996. They were 3 times Paralympic champions, the Dutch. But in the last 2 decades, it's Russia and Ukraine who've been the 2 dominant forces. The Russians aren't here this time, and that maybe opens up an opportunity for one of these 2 teams to contest and maybe win a medal. Lars CONIJN is the Dutch captain on the right of picture, with Rodrigo LUGRIN taking the armband. Rafael Torres of Brazil will take charge. And the Argentina coach, Osvaldo Hernandez, has really rung the changes. Only 2 of the players who began against Iran start this time, and an intriguing switch. Claudio Figuera, the number 12, who played outfield in that opening match, is now in goal. Helps to have somebody of such flexibility, I suppose, in your 14-man squad, but there are 2 other goalkeepers on the bench in Helkin and Salvat. Netherlands much more consistent with their selection. Just the one change, Daan DIKKEN, who actually came on for Jeroen Skeitert in the first match when Skeitert got injured, and he keeps his place in the starting 7. So, familiar looking Dutch lineup. Substitutes Gerard Bambacht, the number 12, is only 17 years of age. His contemporary Carlos CARRIZO in the Argentina side is starting for the first time today. He can't have been all that impressed making this number of changes against Iran. 3-1 defeat. The Netherlands a 2-2 draw against the Americans in their first game.
Now it's your turn, ladies and gentlemen, to get behind your side. If you've got the blue and white, let me hear you, Argentina! Who's in the orange for the Netherlands?
Quem tá aqui pelo futebol de 7, todo mundo, galera!
All set then, Rio, to count this game in. All together then, from 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, let's play!
So a key match in Pool B of this 7-a-side tournament, with neither side having got off to a winning start. The pressure on both to try and take the 3 points here. The Netherlands were the more impressive of the 2 in drawing 2-2 with the USA, a match they probably should have won. Argentina were distinctly second best against Iran, going down by 3-1 and only getting their own goal right at the end from the penalty spot. So both sides in need of an improvement today. Argentina in the familiar colours, of course, of light blue and white, and the famous orange for the Netherlands. Carlos CARRIZO on the ball. Minne de VOS with the interception for the Dutch. No way through from Maximiliano Fernandes. So the Dutch will get the goal kick. These 2 teams met in an international match as recently as May, when the Dutch came out on top by just 2-1. Argentina took the lead on that occasion in the pre-Paralympic tournament in Spain, which featured the majority of the teams competing here in Rio. So a close game to be expected. And Thomas KLEINLUGTEBELD, the man who had all those attempts on goal, 20 out of the Dutch team's 32 in their draw with the USA. He scored twice that day too. So Argentina will be well aware of the threat that he poses. The Dutch number 4 winning the header there. This is Matiaz BASSI. And that's a poor ball by BASSI. Straight to de VOS. Now KLEINLUGTEBELD for the first time. He likes it on that left side, and here he is turning away from his man. An immediate danger. But a good first bit of handling by Claudio FIGUERA, the midfield player turned goalkeeper. I guess it does give a coach unique flexibility when you've got a goalkeeper who is capable enough to play as an outfield man as well. Argentina haven't found the range with their passing yet. They've given it away 2 or 3 times already. Lars CONIJN, the Dutch captain. Back to Joey MENSE, the most experienced player in the Dutch squad at his 3rd Paralympic Games. DIKKEN is chasing this. MOLINA will have to deal with it. Here's KLEINLUGTEBELD. Away initially from BASSI and looking for the through ball. It was a good one too. And it needed LUGRIN to clear off the line for Argentina. Well, right from the outset, the Dutch are setting up camp in the Argentina half. KLEINLUGTEBELD with a defence-splitting pass and an excellent stretch by Minne de VOS. KLEINLUGTEBELD is in the least impaired category, category 8. There are 4 classes of athletes who are able to compete in the 7-a-side football. Class 5, the most impaired, class 8, the least. You have to have at least one athlete from class 5 or class 6 on the field at all times, but you can only ever have a maximum of 1 from class 8. So it follows that most of the players are in the same class, class 7. Crowds seem to be getting bigger day by day. And I think that goes not just for the football, but for the other sports as well. Foul given against Joey MENSE with the Netherlands on Matiaz BASSI. BASSI making his first start at the Paralympic Games today, a 20-year-old. Only made his international debut last year. They hit it first time, LUGRIN. Jeroen, who plays up front for the Netherlands, is a very tidy player, as he demonstrated there, but this is CARRIZO. Space for LUGRIN. The one thing to be said about a shot from range is because there is no offside, teams often have players loitering in front of the goal area. So even if you think it's an ambitious range from which to shoot, it can often turn out to be difficult for the goalkeeper to deal with, because there's a player in front who might get a touch or might be able to control the shot or might just let it go at the last minute. So that's why teams, I think, particularly from central areas, often take what seem to be low percentage efforts on goal. Of course, sometimes they just get it wrong as well, but we saw in the previous Dutch game, actually, Jeroen Set from in front of the goal flicked an effort in beyond the goalkeeper from KLEINLUGTEBELD. Argentina just steadying the ship after an opening spell in which they were very much forced onto the back foot. It's just an efficiency that they were lacking against the USA. Joey Mense, you heard him shout his name to put the header on it. He was fouled as well. Jeroen Set did well to rob the ball from LUGRIN, and he was looking to thread it through for KLEINLUGTEBELD. Was Set's challenge on LUGRIN that just caught him on the ankle. In fact, he seemed to catch the right toe in the grass and just go over rather awkwardly on it. Half an hour each way. Referee at liberty to add on extra minutes at the end of both halves for stoppages. Pitch is a bit smaller than it would be for conventional 11-a-side, but for 7-a-side players, particularly bearing in mind there's no offside, it's large enough at 70 metres by 50, a wide pitch. As we've seen with the team from Ukraine, teams that pass the ball accurately and quickly can really stretch their opponents. And what it does mean is that there's goal-mouth action generally guaranteed, with space for good players. The initial challenge came in, and then KLEINLUGTEBELD finished him off. Well, he's in the game, the Argentinian captain. Rafael Torres is the first of the officials here to get hold of a can of the measuring spray. The white foam that just marks out 7 meters back from the free kick. So again, the attacker right in front of the goalkeeper here. And BASSI struck that with some venom, and it was a decent defensive header that from Minne de VOS, as recognised by his teammates. First we've seen from the set plays from BASSI. KLEINLUGTEBELD complaining about the close attention. They're trying to block him off to allow BASSI to get a free run, and they very nearly achieved that. He's not the tallest, but they clearly rate his ability in the air because he was singled out there as the target for that cross. Now KLEINLUGTEBELD away from BASSI there, but good clearing header. Lars CONIJN. KLEINLUGTEBELD peeling away into the centre. It's aimed towards him. Just between the number 4 and Minne de VOS. Here's CARRIZO with FERNANDEZ going on in front of him. LUGRIN in the centre by the penalty spot. Well, it's fairly even, and Argentina will be pleased that they've restricted the Dutch attempts on their goal to just the 2, and those came very early on. FERNANDEZ, and FERNANDEZ Romero. Well, that's an excellent save by George van Altena. He really got down well to his left-hand side. This was really well hit, wasn't it? Fizzing from FERNANDEZ Romero. He couldn't have hit that much better. MOLINA LOPEZ with the corner for Argentina. Straightforward this time. KLEINLUGTEBELD on the run. He is so dangerous. He is slightly impaired on the right side, wants to use the left all the time. Says his hero is Arjen Robben, and you can see why, the way he runs with the ball and strikes it with that left foot. Now away by BASSI, it's a good looking pass. FERNANDEZ Romero in pursuit, but Lars KONIJN too experienced for that. Part of the Dutch side, KONIJN, that won the silver medal at the European Championships 2 years ago. Argentina qualified as the runners-up in the Pan-American Games in Toronto last year. Now here's KLEINLUGTEBELD, he's got de VOS in the centre. De VOS elected to go early with the shot and couldn't hit the target. It was well found. De VOS with a good tackle. CARRIZO rather wandered into trouble. Oh, and there were 2 forward there. If Jeroen had just got the pass away, the Dutch really were in business. You don't have to worry about the offside line when you're running through as well. Completely at liberty to go as far forward as you wish to. Excellent bit of defending to block the pass, essential for Argentina. Well, de VOS has somehow given the free kick away there. Had 2 defenders for company, but he grabbed at Pablo MOLINA LOPEZ. Towards LUGRIN, but out by KLEINLUGTEBELD. Argentina need to try and keep the ball away from KLEINLUGTEBELD wherever they are on the field, I think. Throw up to de VOS. Fernandez got an important foot in. Bassi away. Fernandez Romero got the wrong side for a moment, but won back his position. Referee must be keeping his eye on what's going on off the ball here. There's a little bit of niggle between CONIJN and Fernandez Romero. FIGUERA. Header on was by Fernandez. CONIJN didn't get it completely clear. Bassi can be an elusive runner. Now we know that FIGUERA, the goalkeeper, can play outfield because he did it in the previous game, but he's given the ball away. Well, Joey Mensa came in strongly. I think he felt he'd won the ball, that it was just a tough but fair challenge. The referee thought it was over physical. Well, I'm not sure he does too much wrong. This was the previous incident. Now what happened afterwards here? Was there a little something? CONIJN and Fernandez Romero certainly going to keep close tabs on one another, winding one another up to some degree. MOLINA LOPEZ disappointingly overhit. Interception by LUGRIN, really well played. And on he goes, and he might well get the free kick and the yellow card for the opponent there for Dan DIKKEN. Having gone past three players, if DIKKEN hadn't made contact, I think the Argentina skipper would have skipped on into the penalty area. Determined run away from CONIJN, and then DIKKEN was just a little bit late on the scene. No complaints with that decision from anybody. LUGRIN was rather, the contact had been a little less solid, I'm sure. So 9 minutes to half-time, and still we await the opening goal, but Argentina will be a lot more satisfied with the way they're playing today. It's an improvement to their performance against Iran. There's more about them in an attacking sense. It was relatively unambitious, their display against the Iranians. They've been set up to contain, I'm sure of that, but still they're carrying a threat today. And they might well menace from this free kick. We've seen that Bassi can strike the ball well. LUGRIN, Fernandez and Fernandez Romero are all on the goal line. Ooh, and the deflection nearly took it towards Fernandez Romero, but now Argentina have, what, 5 upfield here. KLEINLUGTEBELD away from Bassi and back away from him. Set is at the far post, he's looking for him. And it was a late tackle on KLEINLUGTEBELD that has been penalised by the referee, who just waited to see if there would be an advantage with the cross. That was sensibly officiated by Rafael Torres. KLEINLUGTEBELD is a sight to behold when he gets going. BASSI was struggling, across came FERNANDEZ as well, and they clattered him. He's their everything, really, KLEINLUGTEBELD. He's their main source of goals, their creator, their set piece taker. He's got a long throw on him too. One wonders if, in a sense, they are over-dependent on him. But then if you've got a star player, you've got to try and get him the ball as often as possible. VOS and CONIJN. Here is KLEINLUGTEBELD. Well, it's a super ball. Jeroen set was in there, and he didn't really make meaningful contact with the header. Here's CONIJN. VOS wants the ball into feet, and he's got it. And the layoff rather left CONIJN caught beyond the ball. KLEINLUGTEBELD was back to Rob Fernandez Romero, who was complaining rather bitterly to his teammates that he hadn't been warned that the Dutch number 4 was coming. Well, now, Jeroen set for the Netherlands. VOS. Well played by LUGRIN, who was swept up on a couple of occasions for Argentina. Lovely turn by BASSI. KLEINLUGTEBELD was not for beating a second time, though.
Tommy, achteruit.
Here's BASSI for Argentina. VOS rather overran that, invited the challenge from Fernandez Romero. A little untidy, but it was fair enough. Jeroen set got an important goal for the Netherlands in their first match against the USA. An equaliser when they'd been behind in that game for more than 40 minutes. And his first touch was just good enough, and here's KLEINLUGTEBELD, and he went for goal and then tried to find VOS belatedly at the second time of asking. Could he have rolled the ball to the far post this time? There was cover on the line from Carlos CARRIZO for Argentina. In goes De Vos's corner. Oh, and CONIJN was arriving round the back. LUGRIN with the counter. Well, MENSE rather stepped in and gave away the free kick. He'd held CARRIZO up to the point where there was really not much that the 17-year-old was going to do, so doubly disappointing that he gave the free kick away. Last 2 minutes of the first half then. MOLINA LOPEZ, well, his delivery from set pieces and from long passes forward has been below standard in this first half. Not much constructive that a coach can say about that. Now DIKKEN and the goalkeeper a bit unsure. If there's space in behind the defenders, you can just run into it. Goalkeeper to some degree in that circumstance has to be a sweeper, which FIGUERA was. Minute to half time. Here's De Vos. FIGUERA will have to come again. Well, that's an awful place to lose the ball. And De Vos, well, he couldn't take advantage. A lapse at the back from Argentina. He's had 2 or 3 presentable chances, Minne De Vos, without really testing Claudio FIGUERA. And we're seconds away from having the first goalless half in the 7-a-side tournament to this point. Unless BASSI can do something about that. Referee said no foul. Joey MENSE made the challenge, and here is De Vos again. Jeroen set is running in behind. Here's BASSI, space to turn. MENSE did a good job of holding him up. Well, again, you feel the Dutch have had slightly the better of it, but haven't been particularly clinical in front of goal. CONIJN striding out from the back. Nothing to delight the fans in orange just yet. Here's KLEINLUGTEBELD. They've worked this nicely. Now DIKKEN looking for Jeroen set, but the final ball not living up to hopes. It was close when they played one another in May, and it's close again today. Netherlands finished 4th at the World Championship in England last year, and with Russia not involved in this tournament and ranked above them, then I've had every hope of getting to the semi-finals. But unless they win this match today, that's by no means certain. Here's De Vos. BASSI got there first, and KLEINLUGTEBELD is going to go in the book, and the referee is none too happy with the Dutch number 4. First yellow card of the competition for KLEINLUGTEBELD, who from his body language I think felt BASSI went down rather too theatrically. I mean, there's no doubt he caught him. And he did catch him heavily enough. It's the last action of the first half at the Diodoro Stadium. And BASSI is going to need treatment into the interval, having been upended right at the end of a competitive first half, but a half in which neither side has been able to break the deadlock. It's not really a satisfactory scoreline for either at the moment. At half-time, it is Argentina 0, the Netherlands 0. Well, the Dutch would not have wanted their star man to get a yellow card and face the threat of suspension for future matches. But there's the tail of the first 30 minutes. The Netherlands having more of the ball and more shots on goal, but also committing more fouls and picking up the yellow cards. Neither side's been as accurate as they would have hoped to be. And neither really improving greatly on their opening matches, which didn't go entirely in their favour. The Argentina coach is still out there looking at Matiaz BASSI, and I think the indication is that they're going to have to make a change, or is it? BASSI is up, at least. We'll keep an eye on that one. Argentina won't want to lose their number 10. Good crowd in the Diodoro Stadium today. Brazil will be involved in the night match today. Here's KLEINLUGTEBELD early on for the Dutch. There's a decent chance and a really good clearance by LUGRIN. He's at the heart of everything they do, KLEINLUGTEBELD. Set was trying to follow up and get in there. LUGRIN's had a good game for Argentina, their captain. That was a terrific save. Fernandes Romero hit that one really well, and it was curling into the near corner. VOS has had a couple of sights of goal, but hasn't converted any of them. Hasn't really forced a save from FIGUERA. This was a terrific run by KLEINLUGTEBELD. He was completely cleared out after making that cross. Save that FIGUERA would have expected to make. Comfortable enough from the corner kick from the Netherlands. Argentina have had a couple of set plays themselves, but haven't really threatened. So we await the opening goal. It's a contest that may well yet come to life. Argentina 0, Netherlands 0 at half-time. The Dutch players back out on the field first for the start of the second half. Some last minute instructions perhaps for Jeroen Set, the Dutch forward. George van Altena made one excellent save from Fernandes Romero. But it's been the Dutch who have been the most threatening. Seven-a-side history in recent games, recent results between the two suggests that the Netherlands would expect to win this match. Two sides played one another twice in 2012. The Dutch won 4-1 in the pool phase, and then in the 5th and 6th place contest, won by 3-0. Ilias Viska, who is on the bench, scored 5 goals in those 2 games. Marcel Geestman's side have been slightly the better, but it's been the same issue really that they had in their opening match against the USA, that they haven't really translated good positions into goals. KLEINLUGTEBELD is the man they are reliant on. He's had 4 of their 9 attempts on goal in the first half. The crowd is filling up really nicely actually. They can fit nearly 16,000 people into the Diadoro Stadium. With Brazilian action later in the day. Everyone's warming up, perfecting their moves before the host nation play, but enjoying this contest as well. Torres, the referee, showed a couple of yellow cards in the first half, both the Dutch players, DIKKEN and KLEINLUGTEBELD. That's what they're all after, although probably a slightly more authentic version. Don't want to bite too hard on one of those copy medals. Might go straight through it. So no goals in the first half. Limited opportunities for the Argentina number 10, Matiaz BASSI. Good to see him coming out for the second period after getting clobbered at the end of the first.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome back to the bench for the second half, Argentina!
And the Brazilian crowd will get behind the Dutch. There's no doubt about that.
Lots of you still arriving here at the Diadoro Stadium ready for the second half. This is how we do it here at Football 7-a-side.
I think Argentina have been better today than they were in their opening match against Iran.
For the game. So if you're here wearing the orange,
They've had a more ambitious game plan. They've threatened once or twice, but
if you're here in the blue and white,
still I'd have them second favourites to win this game.
E agora eu quero ouvir quem tá aqui pelo futebol de 7 fazer muito barulho!
Changes are afoot in the Argentina camp. Rodrigo Luquez, the number 2, is on. That's Maximiliano Fernandes, who has been replaced. Coaches can have a maximum of 3 substitutions per match. So the second half is underway, and both the Dutch and Argentina in need of 3 points to really fire up a challenge for a semi-final place. Pool B is quite wide open. Iran looked the best side so far, having beaten Argentina in their opening match. The Netherlands having drawn with the USA, have Iran still to come. So anything less than a victory for them will leave them in a precarious position too. Who's going to be good enough to take their chances in the second half? I have to say, neither side's really pinged the ball around with any great speed. Long ball out to KLEINLUGTEBELD is always an option for the Dutch, and he's away from BASSI here. KLEINLUGTEBELD into the box. And MOLINA LOPEZ very pleased to get rid of it. It's a simple tactic, get it to the star man and then see how much chaos he can cause. Here he is again, KLEINLUGTEBELD. He'll want to work it onto his left foot. Here he goes. Oh, well read by BASSI. He'd been beaten once, but then stayed composed, stayed on his feet, and was able to make the challenge. BASSI's gone down off the ball though, as if he's in real discomfort. And I don't know if it was as a result of making that challenge or as if something's given way. He looks in a world of pain. And I wouldn't be surprised if this was the left knee. I don't think he's going to play any further part in this game. Mariano Morada, who is the other Class 8 player in the Argentina squad, is set to take his place. This is a sad sight. Well, at least he can put some weight on that left knee, which suggests the damage is not as severe as for a moment or two it looked like it might have been. But Matiaz BASSI, starting his first Paralympic game, is clearly upset to be leaving it in such a manner. I wonder if he fears he might not get much more playing time in the tournament after that. Oh dear. He's only 20. His time may well come again, although it's interesting, seven-a-side football's not on the programme for Tokyo in 4 years. So for many of the more veteran players, this may well prove to be their last Paralympic Games. The referee just penalised Fernandez Romero for a little nudge there from the free kick. KLEINLUGTEBELD again. Set is working hard up front for the Netherlands, trying to find space. But LUGRIN has had a good game at the back for Argentina. And that's a useful ball. Fernandez Romero. Fine piece of skill to get away from MENSE. Just looked to be holding him back. Van ALTENA in the Dutch goal has done nothing wrong today. The 28-year-old goalkeeper at his second Paralympic Games. Straight away it's Mariano Morana, having come on for BASSI, who is picking up KLEINLUGTEBELD. Dutch corner is the decision. Dan DIKKEN was in there. Argentina have to hope that their goalkeeper's not too seriously hurt. They've made 2 changes, and the problem for them is that Figuera is a class 7, and their other goalkeeper, Gustavo Nahuelquin, is a class 5, so he could just replace, but that would leave them at a bit of a disadvantage. He's struggling with that wrist, isn't he? They've run out of luck a little bit in this second half, Argentina. Made the first change tactically, and then a coach's nightmare, an injury immediately after that. Now the goalkeeper in trouble. Dutch corner, De VOS will take. All the way out to KLEINLUGTEBELD. He's trying to pick out DIKKEN. And neither side has really threatened from corners today. Now, if they take this quickly, Argentina could be in trouble. Jeroen Set was looking to get the other side of LUGRIN. Terrific crowd building. Well watched by Morana. Argentina regular contenders for a medal in the 5-a-side football at the Paralympics, but the 7-a-side they've never won a medal. It's the 5th time they've entered, or they've qualified for the 7-a-side. Now here's De VOS, Set is in front of him, can't be offside. De VOS will go on, and that's a good save by Figuera. He just got a glove to it. Clearest chance of the second half so far falls to Minne De VOS of the Netherlands, and still they can't take one of these opportunities. DeVos trying to roll away from LUGRIN, but LUGRIN looks a good defender. Played in London at the age of 18, LUGRIN. The referee is a figure of some authority, isn't he? Showed the yellow card to Rodrigo Luquez for delaying the restart. And now he's handed the throw to the Netherlands for taking it from the wrong place. Here's CONIJN. MOLINA just stood his ground and waited for the pass to come towards KLEINLUGTEBELD. Knew he had his angles covered. Now here's Luquez on the run. It's not often in this match that Argentina have strung 3 or 4 passes together in the same move. Here's Morana. Had a decent game against Iran. Simple enough for Van Altena, and there wasn't an attacker right in front of him that time to make it awkward. Third yellow card of the game. Only Argentina player on a yellow card from their first match is Claudio Figuera, who played as an outfield player against Iran and is now in goal. Minne DeVos of the Netherlands was cautioned in their opening match against the United States. So he too is a caution away from a one-game suspension. Fernandez Romero did that neatly. Carlos CARRIZO who's forward on the right hand side, but another move breaks down. Does feel to me, looking at the way this group is panning out, that a 0-0 draw is more advantageous to Argentina, who might fancy their chances of beating the Americans in the final group game, whereas the Netherlands will play Iran, who started the tournament pretty brightly. But Morana looking to try and make the difference on his own. Another good tackle by LUGRIN. Jeroen set, just clipped the ankles. Jeroen Schuitert, who began their opening match for the Dutch, to replace Jeroen Set. He doesn't look too concerned, the Dutch coach, Marcel Geestman. But there's only a quarter of this match to go. That's a useful ball. Oh, it struck the post. LUGRIN went up for the header. Van Altena was a little bit disorientated and relieved to see it come back off the frame of the goal. Luquez's ball in. Does LUGRIN just get a little flick to this? I think he did. Very nearly the opening goal. towards Morana. And now the chance. Oh. Fernandez Romero denied. The Dutch goal all of a sudden leading a charmed life. Fell well here for Fernandez Romero. And it just struck Joey Mensa. Well, Argentina pressure all of a sudden. Molina Lopez. Van Altena couldn't take it cleanly, but it's safe. What a real scare for the Dutch. Skytep with a through ball. KLEINLUGTEBELD has just been quiet for the last 10 minutes or so, and that is bad news for the Dutch because everything good that they've done in an attacking sense has gone through him. And LUGRIN is getting things started for Argentina. He's winning the ball in defensive positions and starting the attacks going. He's getting better and better for them. They're beginning to believe they can win it, I think, Argentina. A very slow start in their opening game against Iran. Luquez out by CONIJN for the Netherlands. And now KLEINLUGTEBELD is away, and there are orange shirts up with him, and it was a vital interception by Luquez. 26-year-old had to come across. "12 minutes left. Goal now would change the complexion of the group quite considerably. And this is a big chance for the Dutch. LUGRIN reaching in. And in a central position. I think we know who, from a Dutch perspective, is going to hit this free kick. The edge of the penalty box is 11 metres from goal. So it's about 13 metres out. KLEINLUGTEBELD can really thump them with that left boot of his. The wall will need to be courageous here. KLEINLUGTEBELD all the way through. He is the main man for the Dutch, and he gives them the lead with just 11 minutes remaining. He didn't even see it. Argentina behind, and that's why the Brazilian crowd are cheering. Just after Argentina had had their best spell of the match. But it's KLEINLUGTEBELD again for the Dutch with a beautifully placed free kick. Saw the gap and threaded it through. It's his second goal of the tournament. And it puts the Dutch in an excellent position. Argentina now have to respond. DIKKEN was annoyed, he went down in the centre, but KLEINLUGTEBELD is confident, and DIKKEN a touch there, and it would have been two. But we just said he'd had 10 minutes when he wasn't really in the game, the Dutch number 4, and here he is back with a vengeance. It was a very good ball in. If Argentina do lose this, then mathematically they'll have no chance of reaching the semi-finals. So they've got 9 minutes to find a goal. It's that simple. Two groups of four, top two into the semi-finals. And if you get to the semi-finals, you've got 2 matches to try and win a medal. Here he goes again. De VOS is charging up in the centre, and he's seen him. But not before MOLINA LOPEZ could get the tackle in. Mariano Cortez is the last of the 3 changes for Argentina. Went towards Skytert. KLEINLUGTEBELD, another beautiful ball. And De VOS couldn't quite convert it. He was superbly found by the Dutch star man. Just against the bottom of the post. That would have sealed it. Well, that's one way of stopping him. Mariano Morano is suggesting to the referee and to everybody else that he's come off worse there, and he might well have done. Clatter of thigh on thigh. He's lucky to avoid a yellow card, really. He has received it upon getting to his feet. KLEINLUGTEBELD onto the loose ball, 2-on-1 all of a sudden. Argentina caught napping. De VOS. Well, he keeps on hitting the side netting. Argentina really caught out from the restart. 5.5 minutes plus added on time to get an equalising goal. All their chances of getting a medal from these games in 7-a-side football will be over. The Dutch will move to 4 points. Iran already have 3, the USA 1, and those 2 teams are to meet next. Nice turn by De VOS. Might as well give it a go, Argentina. 4 minutes left. They're ranked 6 in the world, so they are outsiders to get to the medal match, but it's not impossible. A draw would be a decent result for them in the context of the group, and it would leave them with chances. Can they threaten from this corner? Molina Lopez making a little dart to the near post. Here's Morana. High towards LUGRIN. It's a decent ball. But another half chance goes begging. Well read by CONIJN, stepped out nicely for the Dutch. KLEINLUGTEBELD has gone for goal. Well, he is feeling confident. Well, Molina Lopez took that on, and Morana pass wasn't really intended for Molina Lopez there. It was a complete missed kick, but it nearly worked in Argentina's favour. Mense's ball up to DIKKEN. Run by Skytet into the space. Now LUGRIN got there. Got a good tackle on it. The one time he missed a tackle was to concede the free kick in the D, from which KLEINLUGTEBELD scored. Morana. Molina Lopez. Time running out for Argentina here. And now maybe the counter-attack is on for the Dutch. Weary looking Argentina struggling to get back behind the ball, and Fernandez Romero risking the wrath of the referee. Well, KLEINLUGTEBELD, having probably won the game for the Netherlands with the free kick, is going to be rested for the last couple of minutes and should get a decent hand from this crowd, I'm sure. Ilias Visca scored 5 times against Argentina alone in London 2012. So he's somebody who's done damage against them in previous fixtures. But it's probably job done for KLEINLUGTEBELD, and probably the end of Argentina's hopes of a medal, unless something changes dramatically in the last few seconds. Here is a first touch for Visca. Oh, it's a super ball in through the defender's legs, and Figuera reacted well. CONIJN in towards Visca, holding off the defender and turning. And Morana is down, and play continues. And Visca! And now it is all over. 3 points for the Netherlands. And a stinging finish from Ilias Visca. Painful, painful for Argentina. They kept it close for so long, but there was nothing the goalkeeper could do about this. Visca, bang. 2-0, and the 3 points going the way of the Dutch.
A minimum of 4 minutes of added time will be played at the end of the match.
O acréscimo até o final da partida
And talk about an instant impact from Ilias Viska. Officially he came on in the 59th minute and he scored in the 61st. And the man who got a hatful of goals against Argentina 4 years ago has come back to haunt them once again. Don't really see him replacing Thomas KLEINLUGTEBELD in the Dutch starting 7, but it's always good to make an impact when you come on. At the other end, here's Fernandez Romero. Mense trying to keep Morana from the ball and did just enough. Some tired old minds and tired old bodies out there. They've all put a shift in. Foul throw, says the referee. Well, it's drifting away from Argentina. They were a bit unlucky in that Morana went down in the build-up to that goal and left them a man light in the penalty area. But it was an emphatic finish from Ilias Viska. He's providing the Argentinian defence with a different type of challenge. Pushed further up against the Argentina defenders rather than KLEINLUGTEBELD, who just roamed everywhere. Both Class 8 players, so only one of those two can be on the field at any one time. That's why Viska's only just come on. Oh, and Viska, that's where the ball straight into goal from distance can be really troublesome. If you've got somebody who can swivel and just flick it goalwards, you very nearly turn that in. Fernandez Romero for Argentina. One last attack perhaps for them. Or is Joey Mense in the Dutch defence going to keep them at bay and earn a clean sheet? That was Lucas. And when they go out for a throw-in, it's tough to take. Celebrations for the Netherlands. They've got their first win at the Paralympic Games here in Rio. For Argentina, it's 2 defeats from 2. And they will not reach the semi-finals. But for the Dutch, every chance of getting through to the last 4. A draw with the USA in their first game, and now victory here over Argentina. A goal for Ilias Viska right at the end to seal it. Their other Class 8 player, KLEINLUGTEBELD, thumped in a free kick to break the deadlock. And it's the Netherlands who move to the top of Pool B for the time being. Argentina 0, the Netherlands 2. Yeah, big smiles on the faces of the Dutch players, and why not? They were patient, weren't they? I think they did create the better chances throughout the course of the contest, although the stats indicate that Argentina were right in it. And they did strike the post with